Hello everybody, today I want to talk about the subconscious mind. If you just listened to my previous podcast, you will notice that I was talking a lot about the conscious and then the subconscious and or unconscious mind. And today I'm just talking about the unconscious or the subconscious. I tend to call it the subconscious. I found that in the subconscious we can actually have a block, like it can be emotional, mental, psychological, even astral block. We can have a block in the subconscious. And I wanted to talk about that today because most people don't realise that they have it, even though once you look at it, you can see, yes, of course I got a block because I can't remember huge chunks of my life or parts of when I was married to that person, this whole block, when I went into like a shutdown. And I want you to realise that if you've had any trauma, abuse, any shock things that happened to you, any times when you went for months and months and had like a numbness around you, maybe you were involved with a fire and or a traumatic accident, the subconscious will try and protect you and it will go and block that part of the information, but it's still sitting in your subconscious. It's like it just puts it away in the drawer, closes the drawer. However, it's still in the drawer. And if you're going to start working on yourself, it's probably a very good place to go to ask. Now, you can ask with kinesiology, so you just ask using with someone yourself or get someone to ask you using the arm whether you have a block in the subconscious. You'll get a yes or no. You can go and ask if it's emotional, mental, and you can even ask whether it's fear or what it is. And you might actually have a clear idea of what it is, like it could be a block of anxiety or fear or anger, terror, trauma. There's a whole lot of blocks you can have. However, the most important thing is to realise you probably have got a block. When I went around checking people who'd been abused and who'd suffered trauma, they all had this block in the subconscious, every single one of them. And I felt that was really powerful. For me, I want to get better. I want to heal. I want to get rid of all my rubbish. So I'm quite happy to do some work to release the block and then see what comes up. And I half expect that I'll start remembering things. I might have some emotions that come up. I might have some crying, might be some anger. And these are tied into releasing that block in the subconscious mind, because these are the things that we put aside. And that's why you can't remember, you see, because you popped it away and it was a good idea at the time and you shut it down because you told yourself you had to shut it down. And then when you came back, it was still shut down. I feel those subconscious blocks are often the reasons that we have problems that no one can find out what they are, or even illnesses and diseases and nervous complaints, because we've had to have this block. I'm not telling you to release the block. I'm just telling you that people have blocks. If you want to go and see if you can find out if you've got one and release it, then that's the choice you make. And I'm not sure, to be quite honest, what comes up. I did it maybe 4 days ago, 5 days ago. I didn't notice anything, but I think as time goes by, I might start remembering things from my childhood more, or things that happened, but I won't be in a place that I can't cope with them because it's not happening now. It's just a cellular memory that's been locked down. And I think that to release that will be a good thing for me. But this is something that you have to decide for you. So I'm not actually telling you to do this. I'm just saying be aware that you could have this. You might actually see other people that you know and you get a sense that they've got a block in their subconscious. These will be people who can't go there, can't remember, have huge chunks of their life that are just, they don't remember anything. You know, when everyone else is remembering stuff when they went to school at 7, they don't have memory of that. They just have little glimpses, and that's often a big sign. It's like a sort of like a mind amnesia that you have. However, you still have it in your aura, and that's why I'm doing this podcast, because all those memories, the feelings, everything attached to the block, you're still carrying that around. And it would be a good idea, because it must have been a negative experience for you, so it would be a good idea to release it. I asked with my pendulum about it. I did kinesiology and asked. Then I did all my modalities to get rid of it. And now I know it's not there. The block's gone, so it'll start releasing from the subconscious mind, and we'll see what happens. I'm pretty much in the early days, so I'm not quite sure what the impact will be. But I'm sure having a whole lot of stuff blocked in my subconscious is not going to be good for me, and it's going to cause some feelings that I don't want to have. I'm a big girl now. As they say, I've got big pants on or something, they say. So I think I can deal with it now, whatever comes up. And if I could deal with it in a sense then, even though I put up a block, I can definitely deal with it now. And I can also get help if stuff starts coming up. You can also put the block back. We're very powerful. I've worked on people and been in my house and done the healing, and by the time they left and all the chakras are nice and open, and by the time they got to the car, they'd shut all the chakras down because on some level they weren't ready or didn't want to be that open or do that. So we have always power. You have free will. However, if you're trying to heal and if you're trying to get better, I'll tell you that blocks are really bad in the body and they usually create huge problems long term. That's why we get sick, because we have blocks and the block stops the energy and it builds up and then it will often manifest in the physical and or you'll have emotional problems or nervous complaints, mental instabilities actually come from these blocks. I found this really fascinating when I did it. It was so interesting for me. And in my case, it all made sense. Of course, I was going to block out that childhood, and why wouldn't you do that? It seems like a good idea when you're 8 years old and terrified of your father who's hitting you. These things were done to protect us. We knew how to protect ourselves. But now they're like a legacy in the aura, and they're going to create problems. It'll be interesting for me to see, and I'm going to track it how I am in the next few weeks, because when we do energy work, it sort of takes a while to download. And I might do another podcast to tell you how I went or what happened. I must say I feel a lot calmer. Like I feel sort of calmer in myself and more balanced, I would say. Just feels a little bit calmer, more balanced. And I'll still do my work where I go back and talk to my subconscious and rewrite the old tapes. However, I think when I start to do that with the block on, the tapes might be quite different, and also they might embed better because I haven't got all the other stuff there as well. It's an interesting thing I learnt this week, and I want to share it with you because I think you'll find it really interesting. I think you'll intuitively know where you've got a subconscious block. I think you'll also know who else has got them. You'll just feel it from them. And sometimes when you talk to them about stuff or try and bring things up, you can feel the wall come up. And even when people try to talk to you about stuff, you don't want to go there, you can feel your own wall come up. And I think the wall is the protection because of the block. So that's another way to look at it. I think that anything like abuse and trauma would be the major concerns for most people. And remember, when you're a little kid and like you're only 4 years old, these things that are happening, the person is big, you are small, and it's terrifying, you know. But if you can't get out of jail, so to speak, and you have to live there, you need to find ways to cope. And what you do is you shut down and put it somewhere else that you don't have to deal with, and then when it's finished, you come back. And I think that's kind of like when the soul leaves. So the mind actually doesn't remember, in a sense, but it does have the memory. It's just we haven't got the access code. And the access code is actually to let go of the block and release it. I'm going to do a bit more work on this. I'll do a few more podcasts, but I thought you'd actually find this really interesting because this energy work could be very powerful, I think. If you're struggling with trying to get over stuff, especially trauma and abuse or PTSD, and then you do this, you might actually be able to get better. This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping you have a nice week. It was really hot here for days, and today we got the cool day and everyone's running around going in Australia going, oh my God, it's so lovely. It's cool. And we're only talking like 23 Celsius, but for us that's cool. So we're really enjoying it here. So I'm sending you lots of love and lots of light. And it would be really nice to hear from any of you who do this work if they had any reactions and or if they had any outcomes from it. So let me know. Goodbye. Lots of love and lots of light to you.